Emergence Christianity.
Yes, that is a thing that exists as a thing.
Defining this thing, however, is a little difficult.
Like nailing Jello to a wall.
Even the name is confusing.
Emergent church.
Emerging church.
Emergence Christianity.
Emergence Reform. Are there any denominations in Emergence Christianity?
That didn't take long. The faces of this Christocentric trend include Brian McLaren,
Doug Paget,
Tony Jones,
Rob Bell.
I admit I am suspect to their approach to the task of theology. The task of theology is to discern signs of God's presence and make that presence explicit or manifest.
Whoa!
So where is the theology in Emergence Christianity? I like their one-step-at-a-time approach to process, acknowledging that we're still figuring this out. Good. They do have an inclusive approach, to a certain extent.
Love thy stranger.
There's an understanding that body matters. There is a reverence for the beauty of God in creation.
So pretty.
Pretty nature. Do seem to pop up spontaneous structure and self-organization.
Spirit is moving.
What are some of its problems? It doesn't seem like they've really figured out what to do with the Bible yet. On one hand, they're ready to reject literalism, but they also don't seem ready to explore historical deconstructionalism. I think the leaders themselves need to rethink their approach. It's also not as ecumenical as it thinks. I watched this YouTube video and they explained that the reason they called themselves Emerging Church was based on an experience with a flower, a bud. They wanted to characterize their faith as something that was still just budding, waiting to bloom.
A beautiful flower.
While they have been studying the bud of the flower, hundreds of theologians have been studying the stem, the root,
and the seed.
Now I can't give you all the examples of this, but let's begin with
liberation theology.
Now, liberation theology got its real boost after Vatican II. Yes,
this is the Catholic movement.
And although it was often at odds with Rome, it saw itself as a theology of the people.
All of the people.
All of the people! The Latin American church played a very important role in the lives of their communities. Through faith and justice. Through social action. Action! Totally understands the process. They see a value in the secularized approach to history, ecumenically minded.
Love thy stranger.
This opens the door to reimagine the Christian faith. Booyaka! Opening the door to a new theology. A theology based on the voice of the oppressed. A theology that favors the poor. Like Jesus did. Church is about action. Theology is the reflection of that action.
Feminist theology.
Some churches have been ordaining women for over 75 years.
No joke.
See, feminist theology recognizes the link between patriarchy and empire. See, matriarchy is based on cooperation. Well, patriarchy is competitive. Feminist theology is unafraid to point out the connection between church and empire. Jesus is not Caesar. It recognizes incarnation as an ongoing process.
Learning to love thy stranger.
There's an emphasis on encountering the divine and seeing the awesomeness and beauty in our world. The goal is to be the church, not so much about belief. It's spirit-guided. Like equality for real and beauty as the way to explain the divine. Our call is to be the active grace of God in this world.
Love thy stranger.
Eco-theology. Eco-theology reminds us that our life forms are being killed from our consumeristic and militaristic approaches. It's not good. The earth is crying out to stop being selfish. Sin as a refusal to share. Eco-theology sees our environmental crisis as a theological problem. It recognizes that we are interdependent and interrelated. We affect each other. We affect the other side of the world. Pay attention. Theology explains that God is in all things, and all things are in God. Eco-theology wants to put some of those faith things on the side so we can deal with the problem. The problem being the way that we treat our planet. There are many more theological approaches that can be more emergent. Christendom has fallen. The church is no longer the center of society. The church doesn't have the same weight in our culture. The church doesn't have the same power in our government. And as Christendom falls, we realize that we are even further from the image of the kingdom of God than we were when Jesus first taught it. Poverty is at an all-time high. Our market system excludes and oppresses the majority of life forms on this planet. The people and the non-people. We are recognizing our interconnectedness. We do affect each other. And we know more than we've ever known before. At least that we know of. Disciplines and specializations have exploded over the last 50 years. We can learn from history, linguistics, literature, geography, sociology, other religions, and psychology. And as emergence theory points out, we can learn from ecology, we can learn from geology, we can learn from biology, and we can even learn from our computers.
Information technology.
The world needs a church that is ready to re-examine its anthropology.
Guess what?
There are theologies that are doing this. A common anthropology is emerging. We are not our own. We belong to our Creator. We are stardust. We belong to the earth, and we are beginning to see that a religion that believes in a creator God cannot be human-centered. Love the animal strangers. Love the tree strangers. Theology is expanding, especially as new forms of church mature. As church learns lessons, they gain experience. They learn that context makes all the difference. Who you are, where you're from, what you have seen, whether you're middle class, low class, or high class. It all affects how you experience God. We have to be honest about what we've done to the character of Jesus. Jesus preached the kingdom, where no one was hungry, where no one was sick, and where there is no war. And then the church preached Jesus. The world is changing, and it's changing fast. But Christians are not the only ones noticing. The ancient Greeks, Egyptians, and Mayans all believed that now would be a time of great change. It's time to move from the age of belief to the age of the Spirit. And Emergence Christianity feels this. So does liberation, feminism, and eco-theology. And many more ologies. Christianity wasn't meant to be a set of modern rules. It was meant to be a kingdom. A kingdom where there is plenty for all. All of the people. Love thy stranger. And no war. How will we emerge from the rubble of Christendom? Will we emerge together? Or will we assume that we are the next best thing? Will we leave the age of belief behind so we can truly embrace the age of the Spirit? How will we emerge? By listening, sharing, expanding, growing. We will open ourselves to mystery, and we must choose to love thy stranger. Because if being Christ in this world is about having deep hope in true peace, so that all will have abundant joy through those who choose to act in love. That is a Christianity that this world still needs today. I will continue to experience. I will continue to grow. I will continue to learn. And I will continue to share. I will love thy stranger. And I will continue to be an uncomfortable Christian.